The first thing I noticed wasn't her face. It was the sound, water dripping into the metal sink, steady, patient, like it was waiting for someone to notice. She stood beside it, sleeves rolled up, hair loose around her neck. Not in a hurry, not apologizing for the mess. Just there, calm, older, the kind of presence that slows everything down. "Didn't expect you to come this quick," she said. Her voice was low, dry, the kind that leaves something unsaid at the end of every sentence. "I was nearby," I told her, kneeling by the cabinet. "Didn't want the leak to get worse." I could feel her eyes on me. Not heavy, but steady. When I looked up, she didn't look away. That small, almost smile, the kind people use when they're not sure what they're giving away, stayed at the corner of her mouth. The pipe wasn't complicated. A cracked joint, a bit of water pooled on the tiles. But my hands hesitated anyway. Her perfume was faint, sandalwood, maybe, mixed with the scent of wet metal and dish soap. Every time I reached for a tool, her skirt brushed against my shoulder. Not on purpose, I think. Or maybe a little on purpose. "You still working nights?" she asked. "Sometimes. Mostly afternoons now." She nodded, leaning against the counter. "You always did like keeping busy." I smiled at that, though I couldn't remember ever telling her that. Maybe she just noticed. When I tightened the last fitting, the dripping stopped. Silence. Not peaceful. Exactly. More like the air was holding its breath. I wiped my hands and stood up. She was closer than I expected. "You're good at this," she said. "I try." She handed me a towel. Our fingers touched, a brief, accidental press. I almost pulled back, but she didn't move. Just looked at me, steady, quiet. The kind of look that makes you forget every safe word you'd planned to say. "I should probably check the other line, too," I said, voice catching somewhere between casual and something else. She tilted her head. "You think it needs fixing?" "I think." I started, then stopped. The pause stretched. "Maybe." She smiled, small, unreadable, and turned toward the hallway. "Come on then. It's down here." Her house was neat but lived in. Books stacked unevenly, a sweater thrown over the couch, half-finished tea on the table. Every detail felt like her, careful and careless at once. When she opened the door to the laundry room, the light flickered once before steadying. "It leaks sometimes," she said softly. "But not always." I knelt again, tools in hand, but my mind wasn't on the pipes. I could feel her behind me, close enough that her breath moved the small hairs at the back of my neck. "Still cold in here," I said. She didn't answer, just reached past me, her hand brushing my arm as she turned the valve. Warm skin, slow movement. Then the knock came, sharp, sudden, from the front door. She froze. The space between us filled with everything we hadn't said. After a moment, she whispered, "Don't move. I'll get it." Her footsteps faded down the hall, each one slower than it needed to be. I stayed there, kneeling in the half-light, hand still resting on the cool pipe, heart caught somewhere between a fix and a mistake. And for the first time, I wondered if I was really here to repair something, or just to see if she'd still look at me that way. The knock at the door lasted too long, a sound that didn't belong in that quiet house. By the time she came back, her voice had shifted. Brighter, distant. "Just my sister," she said, like that explained everything. It didn't. She moved past me to the counter, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. I noticed her hand was trembling, just a little. "You okay?" I asked. She looked up, smiled too quickly. "Of course. Why wouldn't I be?" I didn't answer. She turned on the tap again, watching the steady stream of water run clear. The room felt smaller now. The kind of small that makes you aware of where you're standing and who you're standing near. Later, while checking the washer line, I caught her watching me again. She tried to look away, but not fast enough. "You were married once," I said quietly, surprising myself. Her shoulders stiffened, but she didn't turn. "Long time ago." "What happened?" She hesitated. The kind of pause that fills a room with old ghosts. "We got tired, I guess. Or maybe I did first." She smiled then, but it was the kind people wear when they don't want to show the scar. "You're young," she added, voice softer now. "You still believe everything can be fixed if you try hard enough." I almost laughed, but something in her tone kept me still. "Maybe not everything," I said, "but some things deserve the effort." That made her look at me. Really look. And for a second, I could almost see the woman she used to be. Not just the calm, composed version standing here, but the one who once ran barefoot through rain, who argued too loud, who loved without calculation. Then she stepped closer. Too close. Her hand brushed my shoulder, just barely. A pause. Then she left it there, light as breath. I forget sometimes, she murmured, how much noise loneliness makes. The words landed somewhere deep. I could hear my heartbeat against the hum of the dryer. Maybe it's not loneliness, I said quietly. Maybe it's just quiet. She gave a small, broken laugh. You talk like someone older than you are. I smiled. You look at me like someone younger than you should. That silenced her. Her hand slipped away, but the warmth stayed. When I packed up my tools, she followed me to the door. The hallway light was dim, golden, the air thick with something unnamed. Thank you, she said, for the pipe, and for staying. Anytime, I said, and I meant it more than I should have. Before I could step outside, she reached for my arm, a soft, unsure touch. Her thumb traced the edge of my wrist like she was memorizing it. Next week, she said, barely above a whisper. There's a shelf I can't reach. Maybe you could. I'll come by, I said. She nodded once, then let go. I walked out into the cool evening, the air sharp against my skin, her touch still burning through my sleeve. Somewhere behind me, I heard the door click shut, slow, deliberate, like a promise we both knew we shouldn't make, but already had. She said it was just a shelf. I told myself I believed her. A week later, I was back at her door, toolbox in hand, heart already ahead of me. The afternoon light caught the dust in her hallway, turning it gold. She opened the door halfway, surprised and not surprised at all. You came, she said. You asked. That almost smile again. Come in, then. The shelf was in her study, tall, uneven, stacked with books that had lived there longer than I'd been alive. Careful, she said as I climbed the chair. It's not stable. I've got it. She stood close, one hand on the chair back, like she could catch me if I fell. I could feel her breath on my arm, faint, steady. The book slipped. We both reached for it at once. My hand covered hers, warm, soft, still. Neither of us moved. Got it, I said, though I hadn't. Her eyes met mine, too long. She tried to speak, but only air came out. Then, the chime of her phone. We jumped apart. She turned away quickly, checking the screen. I caught a glimpse of the name before she tilted it down. Lena. Her sister. You should get that, I said. She didn't move. It can wait. But the silence after told me it couldn't. She sat down on the couch, phone still in her hand. I stayed standing, unsure of where to put the air between us. She's been asking questions, she said finally. About you. About why you're around so often. And what did you tell her? That you're helping with repairs. She laughed once, short and flat. Which isn't a lie. Just not the whole truth. I nodded, pretending it didn't sting. People talk. They always have. The room went still. Outside, wind brushed against the window panes, soft but restless. You could stop coming, she said suddenly. If this feels complicated. It already does, I said. But not the way you mean. She looked up, searching my face for something. A line to draw, maybe, or erase. Her voice lowered. You're young. You think this is about wanting. It's not. It's about what happens after. Then tell me what happens, I said. Because every time I leave, I'm still here. The words hung there, heavier than they should have been. She stood, slow, deliberate, took a step forward. Then another. Her hand brushed my jaw, tentative, trembling. Don't, she whispered, but she didn't move away. Our faces were close now, the space between them a single heartbeat wide. Her breath touched my lips, warm, uncertain. A sound, footsteps on the porch. We froze. The knock came once, sharp. She exhaled, stepped back, eyes wide with something halfway between fear and longing. Go, she said, almost inaudible. Please. I gathered my things, pulse still racing. As I reached the door to the back entrance, she caught my hand, quick, desperate. Her voice shook. Next time, don't knock. And just like that, the line between right and wrong vanished completely. It had been 3 days since the knock. 3 days since her hand caught mine and whispered, next time, don't knock. I told myself I wouldn't go back. I told myself I could forget. But memory has a way of replaying the things you never finished. When she opened the door this time, there was no hesitation, just a quiet, steady breath. Noah, she said, like the name itself was something she shouldn't say out loud. Elena. That pause, familiar now. A kind of electricity disguised as silence. You shouldn't be here, she said. I know. Then why are you? I looked at her, really looked. Because you told me not to knock. Her expression shifted, a flicker of surprise, of something unguarded. She stepped aside without another word. Inside, the air felt different, heavier, like it knew what was about to happen before we did. A record played softly from the corner, low enough to sound like a memory. She poured a glass of wine, handed it to me. Her fingers brushed mine. Sit, she said, though she didn't. She stood by the window, back turned, watching the rain streak down the glass. Her reflection was faint, ghost-like, the kind of beauty that comes with time, not youth. I keep telling myself it's nothing, she said quietly. That it's just something to fill the quiet. And is it? I asked. She turned. No. Her voice cracked just slightly, and that was worse than any confession. I set the glass down, stood, crossed the room before I could stop myself. She didn't move. Not when I reached for her, not when my hand brushed a strand of hair from her face. Her breath caught. I could feel it, warm against my wrist. This isn't fair to you, she whispered. I get to decide that. You don't understand, I do. My voice was low, closer now. You think I don't see you? The way you pull back just before you want to stay. She closed her eyes, shaking her head, but her hands found my shirt anyway, gathering it like she was trying to hold the thought together. The rain outside hit harder. The record skipped once. Elena, I said, softer this time. Tell me to stop. She opened her eyes. I can't. We stood there, breath to breath, almost touching, the world outside folding in. Her fingers traced the edge of my collar, slow, uncertain. My hand slid to the small of her back, feeling the tremor she tried to hide. She leaned in first, barely. Her lips hovered near mine, close enough that I could feel the shape of her next word before she said it. Then, the sound again. A car door slamming outside. Voices. She stepped back, sharply as if burned. Through the window, headlights cut across the wall. Her voice was a whisper now. My sister's here. I looked at her, the half-finished distance between us. Her lips parted, eyes still on mine. And then she said it. Low, raw, certain. If you stay, I won't stop you. The headlights passed. Neither of us moved. The knock came again, not from the front door this time, but from the side entrance. Sharp, hurried. Elena froze. She wasn't supposed to come tonight, she whispered. Go, I said, already stepping back. But before I could move, the door opened. Lena, her sister, mid-40s, same eyes, same tone, but colder. Oh, she said, her gaze landing on me first, then Elena. You didn't say you had company. Elena tried to smile. It faltered halfway. Noah was just helping with the shelf. I finished too quickly. The silence that followed was louder than any explanation. Lena's eyes narrowed. Not angry, exactly. Just knowing. Well, she said finally, you've been spending a lot of time fixing things lately, haven't you? I felt Elena tense beside me. Her hand brushed my arm, a quiet plea to stay silent. I like my house in order, she said, her voice even. Lena stepped closer, lowering her voice. Just make sure you're not breaking something else while you're at it. The words landed like a slap neither of us reacted to. After she left, the house felt hollow. Elena stayed by the window, arms crossed. The tension in her shoulders was almost painful to look at. She's not wrong, she said quietly. I waited. She knows me too well. She's seen this before. The look, the pattern. Pattern. Her laugh was brittle. I fall for people I shouldn't. Once it was a colleague. Before that, my husband's best friend. I said nothing. My chest felt tight, like something invisible had shifted between us. She turned, eyes searching mine. And now you. Too young. Too kind. You think this means something pure. It doesn't. Her voice shook on that last word. Not from anger, but from something closer to fear. I took a step forward anyway. You don't get to decide what it means for me. Her jaw trembled. You don't understand what it costs. I don't care what it costs. I was closer now. Close enough to see the pulse at her throat. Close enough to smell the faint trace of her perfume that had somehow become a memory. She shook her head, but didn't move back. You should. Because I already lied to her. The words hit harder than I expected. About what? Her eyes lifted slowly to mine. I told her you weren't the one who fixed the pipe. I said it was someone else. Why? Because I didn't want her to know how often you've been here. The air thickened. Guilt. Want. Something in between. Her hand brushed my sleeve. You see? I've already started hiding you. Her confession landed between us like a spark that couldn't go out. I reached for her wrist, just to steady her. She didn't pull away. You could still stop this, I said softly. She exhaled, shaky. You think I haven't tried? The rain outside started again, harder this time, against the glass, steady as a heartbeat. She leaned forward just enough that her forehead touched my chest. If I let this happen, she whispered, it won't stop there. I closed my eyes, every nerve wired to that single point of contact. Then maybe it's already too late, I said. The rain hadn't stopped. It hammered the roof, relentless, as if trying to warn us. Elena stood by the doorway, one hand still on the frame, like she could hold herself there and not fall forward. I set the toolbox down. This time, neither of us pretended it was about repairs. You shouldn't have come back, she said. Her voice was quiet, almost lost beneath the rain. You said that last time, and you didn't listen. No, I said, because you didn't want me to. Her lips parted, a breath, not a word. The room was dim, just the soft light from the window. Every shadow looked like a secret we'd both already told. She took a step closer. The sound of her bare feet on the wooden floor, small, deliberate, final. Do you know what you're doing? She asked. No, I admitted. But I know what I'm feeling. Something in her eyes broke then, a mix of defiance and surrender. She reached up, fingers brushing the back of my neck, hesitant, trembling. Her touch was cool at first, then warmer, pressing deeper, like she was testing how real I was. You'll regret this, she whispered. Maybe, I said, but not tonight. She exhaled, slow and uneven. Her forehead rested against mine. For a long time, neither of us spoke. The rain softened, the air between us thickened. Every breath she took brushed against my skin. Every heartbeat felt shared. When she finally pulled back, it wasn't far. Just enough to look at me, really look. There was no distance left to hide behind. This isn't about fixing anything anymore, she said. It's about breaking the right thing. Her words landed like an answer I didn't know I'd been asking for. I reached up, brushed a strand of hair from her face. My thumb grazed the corner of her mouth. She caught my wrist, holding it there, neither stopping me nor letting go. We can't undo this, she said. I don't want to. For a second, I thought she'd pull away. Instead, she leaned closer, her breath hot against my jaw, her words barely sound. I'm terrified, she said. I know. And you still want this? I nodded. Even if it ends tomorrow. She closed her eyes. Then don't move. And I didn't. Her hand traced my jaw, my shoulder, the edge of my sleeve, slow, deliberate. The kind of touch that says more than words ever could. Every motion was quiet, cautious, and certain all at once. The house creaked. The rain softened to a whisper. She finally met my gaze again, calm, open, unguarded. Now you see me, she said. I always did. The silence that followed wasn't empty. It was full of choice, of consequence, of something neither of us could name anymore. Outside, the storm eased. Inside, everything finally broke. And for the first time, neither of us tried to fix it. Morning came slow. The kind of light that doesn't rush in but settles carefully, soft on the curtains, quiet on the floorboards. Elena sat by the window, knees drawn up, watching the rain ease into mist. Her hair was loose, her sweater falling off one shoulder, one hand wrapped around a mug that had long gone cold. I stood a few feet away, unsure if I should speak, unsure if words would help at all. You didn't leave, she said finally. You didn't ask me to. She smiled, faintly. That's new. I walked over and sat beside her. The house smelled like coffee and wet earth. Outside, the street was still empty. I keep thinking about what happens next, she said. How people will talk. How my sister will look at me. How it might not last. I nodded. Maybe they will. Maybe it won't. But that doesn't mean it wasn't real. She looked at me then. Really looked. And I saw the worry fade, replaced by something gentler. I thought I'd forgotten what that feels like, she whispered. What? To be seen without being fixed. The words hung there, quiet, raw. I reached for her hand, and she let me. Her fingers were warm, steady now. We sat in silence, hands intertwined, her thumb brushing over the back of mine. No promises, no rehearsed lines, just the kind of closeness that didn't need defending. After a while, she leaned her head against my shoulder. The weight of it felt right, unhurried, earned. I used to think love was supposed to look a certain way, she said softly. Two people the same age, same plans, same everything. And now I think it's about timing. Who shows up when you've stopped expecting anyone to? I smiled. Guess we're both a little late then. She laughed quietly, tilting her face toward me. Late still on time, if you show up. I didn't say anything. I just kissed her forehead, slow, careful. The kind of kiss that says, I'm here, not just now, but really here. Her breath caught, and she exhaled against my neck, whispering, You don't have to fix anything anymore. Maybe not, I said, but I'd like to stay anyway. She turned her face slightly, eyes half closed. Then stay. And for the first time, there was no hesitation in her voice. Outside, the world went on. Cars passing, birds shaking rain from their wings, but the house felt still, safe. Her hand rested in mine, her head against me, and for a long time, neither of us spoke. No running, no hiding, no pretending it didn't matter. Just two people, finally choosing the same moment at the same time. Did you enjoy the story? What kind of stories would you like to hear next?